I finally hit 1000 subscribers on YouTube, and a few hours later I saw my first €1.45 in the Earn tab, which means obviously I am now a successful entrepreneur, a business genius, and legally allowed to sell you a $997 creator course recorded in front of a rented Lamborghini. Unfortunately, the Lamborghini was not available, so you get random gameplay footage instead. But seriously, when I hit 1000 subscribers, my first thought was not, I mastered YouTube. It was, wait, why did this take so long? Because for years I uploaded gaming videos, piano videos, tech videos, reviews, guides, different games, different languages, different styles. Basically, my channel looked like the algorithm opened my upload history and said, my good brother, who is this for? And that is the uncomfortable truth behind this video. I did not grow because I suddenly became 10 times better overnight. I grew because I finally made a few videos that YouTube could understand. And more importantly, videos that viewers could understand. That is what many small creators miss. YouTube is not just about making good videos. You upload something with effort, the clouds open, the algorithm descends from the heaven and says, this man tried, give him impressions. But that is not how it works. YouTube is not a fairness machine. YouTube is an attention machine. It rewards clarity, it rewards packaging, it rewards viewer satisfaction, it rewards patterns, and it rewards trust. And yes, some of that sounds manipulative, because it kind of is. Every title manipulates curiosity. Every thumbnail manipulates perception. Every intro manipulates attention. Every edit manipulates pacing. Every call to action manipulates behavior. The real question is not whether you manipulate attention. The real question is whether you do it honestly. So this is not a how to get rich on YouTube video. This is not me talking from the mountaintop. This is a post-mortem with slightly better audio at this point. I want to show you the mistakes that slowed me down for years, because maybe they are slowing you down too. A lot of small creators are not failing because they are lazy. They are failing because they misunderstand the game they are playing. And I myself misunderstood it for years. So let's talk about it. Point number 1. Your title and thumbnail are not decoration. For the longest time, I treated titles and thumbnails like the annoying thing you do after the real work is finished. You recorded the video, you edit the video, you fix the audio, you render the video, you export the video, and then you upload the video. All cool and dandy. And then YouTube asks for a title and thumbnail, and you are already mentally dead, so you throw something together and call it a day. That is a huge mistake, because your video does not start at 000. Your video starts before the viewer even clicks. The title and thumbnail are the real intro. Before anyone hears your voice, before anyone sees your editing, before anyone realizes how much effort you put into a video, they already made the first decision. Click or ignore. And most of the time, they ignore. Not because they hate you, they just don't care yet. That is the psychological part people don't like to admit. A viewer is not sitting there calmly judging your artistic value. They are overloaded, they are tired, they are distracted, they are protecting their time. Every click is a tiny risk. They are asking, is this worth my attention? And your title and thumbnail needs to answer that question before the viewer has to think too hard. Imagine this, you have two boxes. One box is shiny, modern, clean, perfectly designed, expensive looking, almost suspiciously attractive. Inside is a pile of garbage. The other box is old, dusty, damaged, half broken, and looks like it was stored in a basement next to a dead printer from 2007. Inside is a gold bar. Now ask people to choose one box and they can keep whatever is inside. Which one gets chosen more often? What do you think the average modern human being out there will choose? Exactly, the shiny and tidy one, right? That is your title and thumbnail. If your content is gold, but nobody clicks it, YouTube does not know that your content is gold. It sees people ignoring your video. It sees a bad click-through rate. It sees that when your video appears, when they give you impressions, people scroll away, swipe away, or choose something else instead. And after this signal, it automatically gives the video fewer impressions. Not because you got shadow banned, not because the algorithm hates you, not because YouTube looked at your channel and said, "This small creator must suffer." It tested your packaging and people did not respond. That's simple, my friend. And I know this hurts because titles and thumbnails feel shallow oftentimes. They feel like marketing, and a lot of creative people hate marketing because it feels dirty. But packaging is not automatically dishonest. Strong packaging is when you make the real value impossible to miss. If your video helps people, do not title it "Some Thoughts About Endgame Systems." Nobody wakes up at 2 AM thinking, "Damn, I really need some thoughts now." Say what the video actually does. Stop making these 10 endgame mistakes. Same content, but better promise. That is not lying, that is clarity. The thumbnail is the door, the title is the promise. The video is where you prove you were not lying or clickbaiting people. And that is one of the most painful ways to lose on YouTube. You made something good, but you put the gold bar in the broken box. And yes, I have absolutely done this many times professionally. So do your title and thumbnail with the same intention as your recording, editing, scripting and audio. A weak thumbnail can bury a strong video. And if people never click, they never get the chance to find out that you actually had something valuable to say. Point number 2. Evergreen videos are your long-term library. The next mistake I made was not thinking enough about the lifespan of a video. When you are small, it is easy to obsess over the first 24 to 48 hours. You upload something, it gets a few views, you stare at the analytics, the line goes up a little, then flatlines, and suddenly you are questioning every life decision that brought you here. You refresh YouTube Studio like the graph is going to apologize. But YouTube is not only about the first day. Some videos are not meant to explode immediately. Some videos are meant to sit there, wait, and quietly become useful later. That is what you call evergreen content. A simple way to think about it is this. Take a time machine 5 years into the future. Will this video still be useful then? Or is it completely dead? Not every video has to be evergreen. You can cover trends, you can cover patches, you can cover news, you can experiment, you can make something short-lived because it is fun or relevant right now. That is completely fine. But if every video you make has an expiration date of 3 days, then you are constantly starting from zero and will also later burn yourself out probably. Evergreen videos are different. They become a content library. They answer questions people still have later. How do I beat this boss? How do I avoid this mistake? How do I understand this system? Why does my build feel weak? Why is my channel not growing? These are not just videos. They are doors into your channel. And you might not believe this until it happens. But sometimes a video suddenly gets traction months or even years after the upload. Out of nowhere. You already forgot about it. You moved on, you are probably busy ruining your sleep schedule with another project. And suddenly YouTube decides, actually, people seem to want this now. Evergreen content is powerful because it keeps working after your motivation for that specific upload is already gone. It keeps bringing viewers in. It keeps collecting watch time. It keeps building trust. And when you build enough of it, your channel stops being a collection of random uploads and starts becoming a library. One useful video is nice. 10 useful videos create a pattern. 20 useful videos create a reason to subscribe. That is especially important when you are small, because small channels usually do not have momentum. Every upload feels like starting from zero. Evergreen content changes that. One video helps another. Viewers can binge watch. YouTube has more data. People understand what you do. This was a big lesson for me. The videos that finally moved my channel were not just videos I felt like making. They solved specific problems. A boss guide, a tips video, a system explanation, mistakes people were making, endgame tips and tricks, and so on. That is powerful because the viewer arrives with intent. They are not just browsing, they need something. And if you solve that problem well, you earn more than a view. You earn their trust. And trust is one of the few things on YouTube that actually compounds. Point number 3, your channel needs a clear identity. This one is personal, because I think this is one of the biggest reasons I slowed myself down. I mix too much. Gaming, piano, tech equipment, reviews, guides, different games, different languages, different moods, different audiences. Basically, my channel was like a buffet where half the food looked good, but nobody knew that restaurant they were in. The algorithm walked in, looked at the menu, and left without ordering. For a long time, I wanted the channel to simply be me. My interests, my personality, my world. And emotionally, I still understand that. There is something beautiful about the idea that people subscribe because they like you as a person and follow you anywhere. But strategically, especially when you are small, that is very hard, especially in the modern and noisy world nowadays. Because YouTube does not understand your soul. YouTube understands viewer behavior. If someone subscribes because of a Diablo guide, and when your next video is a piano cover, and then a German microphone review, and then a World of Warcraft video, and then something completely different, you get the point. The viewer might not hate you, they are just confused. And confused viewers do not click. That is the key. People often don't unsubscribe every time you upload something unrelated. Most people are not that dramatic. They just don't click, and that is almost worse, because you may not even notice the damage immediately. Your subscriber number stays, but your audience signal weakens. When your own subscribers ignore a new upload, YouTube sees that. Then it asks, who should I show this to? And if the answer is people who enjoy my entire multidimensional artistic identity across several unrelated formats, good luck, my friend. That is not impossible, as you can see on my channel kind of, but trust me, it is harder, way harder and slower. This is why niche channels often grow faster, not because niches are magical, but because they reduce confusion. The viewer knows what they are subscribing to. YouTube knows what audience to test. Your channel has a clear promise, and this is deeply psychological. People subscribe because they want to reduce future decision making. They are basically saying, I want more of this kind of stuff. Not, I want to gamble on whatever this person's brain produces next week. And each gives the viewer safety. It tells them, you like this? Good, there is more like this. That does not mean you have to lock yourself into one tiny topic forever. A niche is not a prison. A niche is a starting point. You can of course expand later, but first people need to understand why they are there. That is why I am seriously considering moving my piano content to a separate channel in the future. Not because I don't care about it, actually I care about it a lot, but because a person watching a Diablo 4 endgame guide is not necessarily looking for a piano cover. And a person looking for piano content is not necessarily looking for an in-depth settings guide in Diablo 4. Those are different mental states, different audiences, different reasons to click. So my advice is simple for you. Don't confuse people like I did, or like I still do. If you need multiple channels, make multiple channels. It is just a click to switch between them and upload the right video in the right channel. Your creativity can still be broad, but your channel promise should be clear. The lesson is not kill your personality, the lesson is make your personality understandable. Give people a box before you break the box. And now let's talk about something uncomfortable. You need to get better at performing. Not fake performing, not screaming, not turning into one of those creators who talk like every sentence is the final warning before the apocalypse. But you need to understand that YouTube is not just information, it is also delivery. The viewer can feel your energy. If you sound bored, they feel bored. If you sound unsure, they themselves feel unsure. If you sound like you recorded the video at 3 AM while your soul was buffering, they feel that too. And I say this as a more introverted person myself. Being high energy can feel uncomfortable. It can feel unnatural. It can feel like acting. But that is the point. Voiceover is partly acting. A video version of you needs to be a slightly more awake, slightly more focused, slightly more intentional version of you. Not fake, just sharpened. Think of it like turning up the contrast. If your normal energy is a 5, on video it might come across like a 3. So you may need to record at a 7 to sound like a 5. I know that can be annoying, but it is real. And it gets better with practice. This is also psychological. Humans use energy as a signal. When someone talks with conviction, we assume the topic matters, right? When someone sounds lifeless, we assume the topic is not worth our attention. That might not be fair, but viewers are not consciously calculating this. They just feel it. They feel whether you believe in what you are saying. They feel whether you are guiding them. They feel whether you are comfortable enough to be trusted. And especially in educational content, your voice is not just decoration. Your voice is the handrail. If the handrail is weak, sleepy and covered in emotional dust, people let go. You need to learn emphasis. You need to learn pacing. You need to learn pauses. You need to learn how to make a sentence land. Because the same information can feel boring or interesting depending on how you say it. And yes, you will cringe. That is part of it. That is also good because it shows some kind of self-reflection on your side. So my fast tip here would be record more, listen back, cringe. Improve, cringe again, improve again. And that is the whole loop. Your personality is not just something you have. On YouTube, personality is something you train, and nobody starts at maximum charisma. Some of us start as a sleepy NPC giving side quests at first. Point number 5. Pacing and editing are viewer management. What do I mean by that? Editing is not just about looking professional. Editing is about preventing escape. Every second, the viewer is silently asking, do I still care? And if the answer at some point becomes no, they leave. That is what you call retention. People often misunderstand this. They think pacing means cuts every 1.5 seconds, zooms every 2 seconds, random sound effects, memes, flashing text and b-roll exploding everywhere like the editor drank 8 energy drinks and lost custody of the timeline. That is not what I mean. I keep my editing fairly simple myself, but I try to cut that weight. I try to get to the point faster now. I try to remove everything that feels like beating around the bush, because modern pacing is faster. We live in a world where people are flooded with information every day. Shorts, TikToks, streams, podcasts, Discord, news, ads, notifications, games, work, stress, emails, everything. 24/7 nearly. The viewer's attention is not sitting peacefully in a monastery waiting for your 90-second intro. Their brain is trained to move fast. The average attention span of people these days hit an all-time low. So you need to consider that. Cut repeated thoughts, cut filler, cut unnecessary context. Cut the sentence where you explain the thing before explaining that you will explain the thing. I have done that too many times. You probably have too. And pacing is not only about the editing, it is also how you speak. If you naturally talk slowly, learn to talk a little faster. Not so fast that people need subtitles and emotional support, but fast enough that the video feels alive. And then also vary it. Speed up when energy rises, slow down when something matters, pause before a punchline, pause before a serious point. Because if everything has the same rhythm, you sound like a boring AI robot. And most people, me included, don't trust and like AI too much. Good pacing is not chaos. Good pacing is control. The trick is not to become a retention robot. The trick is to make sure the viewer never feels abandoned. If the video has rhythm, they stay. If the video feels like you are searching for the point while recording, they will leave. And I say this as someone who loves over-explaining. You start with one sentence, then another, then suddenly you are giving a TED talk about a tooltip. The viewer did not sign a contract to survive my internal monologue. Respect the reason they clicked, but also don't edit out your humanity. Some pauses are good, some jokes are good, some imperfections make you feel real, human and authentic. The goal is not to become a machine. The goal is to make the viewer feel carried through the video. They should feel like the video knows where it is going. And since we are talking about viewer behavior, let's talk also about call to actions for a second. Yes, you should ask people to like or subscribe, but please don't do it in the first 5 seconds before giving any value. Nothing feels better than clicking a video and immediately hearing, before we start, like, subscribe, comment, join my Discord, follow my socials, support my Patreon, buy my merch and name your first child after my channel. Okay, the last one was a little bit exaggerated maybe, but you get the point. I don't even know if your video is good yet. You know, a CTA works better after you have already helped the viewer, after you gave them something, after they feel, okay, this person might actually know what they are talking about. Then ask quickly something like, hey, if this video is giving you value so far, a like or subscription would genuinely help the channel a lot. I finally hit 1000 subscribers. I'm trying to build this into something real without becoming a complete YouTube goblin in the process. Which is difficult kind of, because the goblin path is always open. You see, that is enough. Then move on, don't beg, don't hold the video and your viewer hostage. Don't make people feel like they entered a sales funnel disguised as a tutorial. Just ask at the right moment and keep the video flowing. Point number 6. Audio quality matters more than you want it to. If you invest in gear for YouTube, your first serious investment should be your microphone. No discussion. Not lights, not a camera, not a stream deck with 400 buttons you will use twice and then pretend was necessary. Your microphone. Because bad audio kills videos. People can forgive average visuals. They can forgive simple gameplay. They can forgive imperfect lighting. But bad audio is just exhausting. If your voice is too quiet, too loud, too harsh, too noisy, too echoey, only coming out of one ear like a cursed podcast recording from 2009, people will leave. And the worst part is, they usually won't tell you. They won't comment, "Dear creator, I found your audio unpleasant and therefore departed at timestamp 0018. They just vanish. Then you stare at retention and wonder what happened. Maybe your idea was good, maybe your title was good, maybe the viewer wanted the information, but listening to the video felt like work, and the viewer does not want to work. This is another psychological thing. People rarely separate the message from the experience. If your audio is unpleasant, the viewer may not think the audio is bad, they may think this video feels bad. You know, that is dangerous, because your idea never gets a fair trial in this case. Bad audio creates friction, and friction kills attention. Don't get me wrong, you don't need perfect studio audio. Don't get me wrong here. But your audio needs to get out of the way. Clear voice, stable volume, not too much background noise, background music low enough that it supports the voice instead of fighting it. Good audio usually does not make people say, wow, amazing audio. Good audio makes people forget audio exists in the first place. That is the goal. The viewer should spend energy understanding your points, not surviving your microphone. Think of your audio on YouTube like hygiene. People only notice it when something is wrong. Point number 7. Your value proposition must be obvious. A lot of small creators make the same mistake. They start the video by explaining everything except why the viewer should stay. They give background, then more background, then a little apology, then a story, then maybe a disclaimer. Then, eventually, somewhere in the distance, the real talking point appears like a rare spawn. No, don't do that. I did that also kind of in this video, if you listen back again in my intro. Tell people just what they get instantly. That is your value proposition. Why should someone watch your video? Not why did you make it? Why should they care? In this video I show you why your build does no damage. In this video I show you which items you should stop salvaging. In this video I will show you XYZ. You get the point. This gives the viewer orientation, and orientation creates trust. People stay when they understand the promise. They leave when they feel trapped in a conversation with no map. This is where storytelling matters a lot. Storytelling is not just telling random personal stories. Storytelling can also be structure. It is taking the viewer from one state to another. From confused to clear, weak to strong, poor to rich, stuck to growing, lost to focused. You get the point. That is why my own story matters also in this video. I'm not just saying, here are 10 YouTube tips. I am saying, I made these mistakes. They cost me time. I finally saw what worked. Here is what I would do differently now after years of trial and error. That gives the advice a reason to exist. A good video is not just information, it is transformation. The viewer should feel different at the end than they did at the beginning. Smarter, more motivated, called out, less alone even, maybe slightly offended, but in a healthy way. Like therapy, but cheaper and with worse gameplay footage. That is the goal. People don't just want information, they want relief, they want certainty, they want someone to organize the chaos in their head. That is why clear value matters. When a viewer clicks a video, they are usually carrying a problem. Sometimes the problem is practical. How do I beat this boss? Sometimes it is emotional. Why am I stuck? Sometimes it is identity based. Am I even the kind of person who can succeed at this? If your video speaks to that deeper layer, it becomes much stronger. You are not just delivering facts, you are reducing uncertainty. And people love anyone who reduces uncertainty. Because uncertainty, to all of us, feels kind of bad. But clarity, on the other hand, feels good, right? That is why a strong intro is so powerful. A strong intro says, I know why you clicked, I know what you are worried about, stay with me and I will help you to understand it. That is not manipulation in a bad way, that is just guidance. Point number 8. Posting anxiety and the feedback loop. Just upload consistently is one of the most dangerous pieces of advice on YouTube. Because it is only half true. Yes, you need to upload. No, uploading alone does not guarantee growth. If you upload 100 videos with the same weak packaging, the same unclear topic, the same slow intros, and the same confused audience signal, you might not be building a channel. You might be building a museum of evidence, a beautiful archive of crimes against retention. Proof that effort and strategy are unfortunately not the same thing. The real loop is post, observe, learn, adjust, and post again. What got clicks? Where did people leave? Which topic brought subscribers? Which thumbnail looked good to you but nobody cared about? Which video gave people an actual reason to comment? Analytics are not there to emotionally abuse you, although they are very good at that sometimes. Analytics are feedback measures. Not perfect feedback, but useful feedback. The mistake is obsessing over every tiny fluctuation. You upload a video, refresh after 7 minutes, and suddenly your self-worth depends on a graph that has not even loaded properly yet. That is not analysis, that is digital self-harm. Give your videos time, compare the patterns and look for signals. If a video has good retention but low clicks, maybe the packaging failed. If a video has high clicks but bad retention, maybe the promise was stronger than the payoff. If a video brings subscribers, ask why. If a video gets views but no one cares afterward, ask what was missing. And then there is also posting anxiety, because a lot of people are afraid to upload. They think, what if people judge me? What if the video is bad? What if someone from school or work sees it? What if my voice sounds weird? What if nobody watches? And look, I understand that. I had those thoughts myself. Posting online can be strange. You are taking something from inside your head, putting it into the world and giving strangers permission to react. That can be pretty uncomfortable. But here is the truth. Most people have their own lives. Think of it like that. They are not sitting in a dark room waiting for your upload so they can destroy your confidence. Most people will not care. No worries. And that sounds harsh, but it is also freeing, right? Nobody cares as much as you, at least not at the beginning. You are not under a global spotlight, you are practicing in public. And yes, some people probably should be afraid to post, because if you look at some of the brain rot content people pump out for cheap clicks nowadays, maybe a little shame would actually help society. But if you are genuinely trying to provide value, if you are teaching something, explaining something, entertaining someone, helping someone, or sharing something with effort behind it, then go post it. You need those reps. Your video number 70 will almost always be better than your video number 2 or 3. At least I hope so. And if video number 70 is worse, please close YouTube Studio and go for a walk. I mean it. But seriously, you cannot think your way into being a better creator forever. At some point you need the feedback loop. Upload, observe, learn, improve, upload again. You will cringe at old videos. That is normal and that is even good. Cringing at old work is proof that you grew. So don't let posting anxiety become an excuse for never uploading or getting better. The only way to become less afraid of uploading is to upload. Point number 9. This is a very important one. The algorithm is not your enemy. No, we need to talk about the algorithm. Or better, we need to stop talking about it like it is a demon. Small creators love saying, the algorithm hates me, I got shadow banned, YouTube doesn't push small channels, the algorithm is against me. And I understand why. It feels better than saying, my video did not work. That is human behavior. Blaming something external protects the ego. If the algorithm is evil, then you don't have to look at the title, you don't have to look at the intro, you don't have to ask whether the topic was unclear. You don't have to admit that the thumbnail you loved maybe only made sense to you. But thinking of the algorithm as your enemy is dangerous, because then you stop learning. The algorithm is not sitting in a dark room plotting against your channel. It is not emotionally invested in your downfall. It does not hate you because you are small. It is a fucking AI analysis tool and the best one globally we have so far. Its job is to figure out whether your video is worth showing to more people. That's basically it. If people click, watch, engage and keep watching YouTube, the system has a reason to test your video further. If people ignore it, leave quickly or don't respond, the system has a reason to slow it down. Not personal, not emotional, not a conspiracy, and honestly, that should be encouraging. Because it means your job is not to defeat the algorithm, your job is to understand your viewer. What do they want? What are they afraid of? What problem are they trying to solve? What makes them click? What makes them leave? What makes them trust you? What makes them watch another video of yours? The algorithm is not your audience. It is a delivery system trying to find your audience. That little distinction is not talked a lot about, but matters. Because if you blame also the algorithm for everything, you stop looking at the viewer at some point. And the viewer is the person you actually need to understand and want to reach, right? My channel started working better when the videos became less about what do I feel like uploading and more about what problem am I solving for this exact type of viewer. That does not mean you become fake. It means you stop being vague. You can still be yourself. Just be yourself while helping someone specific. YouTube wants good videos to work. Not because it loves you, but because if your video works, viewers stay longer on the platform. That is the whole business of YouTube and how they generate their income. So in a way, the algorithm is even working for you. It is trying to find the people who might care. But if your packaging is weak, your topic is unclear, your intro is slow, your pacing drags and your channel identity is confusing, you are making its job harder. So stop blaming the algorithm first. Look at the data. Click-through rate tells you whether people care enough to click. Retention tells you whether the video delivered. Comments tell you what people reacted to. Subscribers tell you whether the video made people want more. The analytics are not there to hurt your feelings, even though they absolutely will sometimes. They are there to give you clues, and you need to use those. The algorithm did not shadow ban you, it just watched your intro and decided to go make tea. Last but not least, have fun or this becomes a prison. Here is the part that becomes dangerous once something finally works. If one video performs well, you immediately feel pressure to repeat it. Then another one, then another one. And suddenly you are not making videos anymore. You are serving the graph. And the graph is never full. It will never be full. This is why you need to enjoy at least part of what you do. Not every part maybe, because audio editing is not joyful every time. Export errors are not joyful. Thumbnail version number 7 is not joy. YouTube Studio showing you a beautiful spike and then a flat line like your video got unplugged from live support is definitely not joy. But the core of your content should mean something to you. Because if you build your channel around something you hate just because it gets views, you are building slowly a small prison for yourself. A small prison with analytics. A prison where the guards are CTR and average view duration. At the same time, pure passion without structure often does not grow. that was part of my mistake too. I liked many things, but liking many things does not automatically create a clear channel. So the real answer is overlap. What do people want? What can you make well? What can you repeat without hating yourself? And what gives the viewer value and still feels like you? That is the real end game, I think. Not just growth, but sustainable growth. Because hitting 1,000 subscribers is not the end. It is the beginning of people expecting something from you, and that can be exciting, but it can also become pressure if you build the wrong thing and are not mentally strong and somewhat forward looking. So be careful what you train your audience to expect. Be careful what you chase. Be careful what kind of channel you create. Because if it works, you might have to keep doing it. And that is a good problem to have for most people out there. But only if you actually like the thing that you are building. The best content sits somewhere between what people want and what you can keep doing without slowly becoming a haunted object. For me, the lesson is not only follow passion. Passion alone is messy, but chasing views alone is empty. So you need overlap. That is where the channel can grow without destroying the person making it. So that was a lot, and if your channel is not growing, it might not mean you are bad. It might mean the value is hidden. Maybe the title does not make people curious. Maybe the thumbnail does not make them stop. Maybe the intro takes too long to prove the click was worth it. Maybe the channel is trying to be 10 different things at once. Maybe your video is good, but the promise is unclear. And I say this because I made all of these mistakes myself. I thought growth was mostly about effort. And of course, effort matters. But effort in the wrong direction is brutal and slows you down. You can work hard on the wrong video. You can spend hours editing a slow intro. You can make valuable content with weak packaging. You can upload consistently into a channel identity nobody understands. That is the painful lesson. YouTube does not reward effort directly, it rewards clarity. The viewer does not know how much work you put in. They only know what they see, what they feel, and whether your video gives them a reason to stay. People click because of curiosity, they stay because of clarity, they subscribe because of expectation, and they come back because they trust your pattern. So if you are still small, still stuck, or still wondering whether this is even worth it, here is what I would tell you. Don't quit too early. But also don't keep doing the same thing forever and call it patience. Look at the data, fix the packaging, tighten the pacing, improve the audio, build a clearer identity, make videos that give people a reason to care. And most importantly, do not let slow growth convince you that you have nothing to offer. Sometimes your content is not worthless. Sometimes the gold is just sitting in a broken, dusty box that nobody wants to open. So package the gold better, make the promise clearer, deliver faster, study the viewer, build a pattern, and keep the human part alive. Because the goal is not to trick people into watching, the goal is to make the right people feel like clicking was worth it. That is the difference between manipulation and communication. And if this video made you think differently about your own channel, leave a comment with the one thing you think is holding you back right now. Is it packaging, niche, audio, pacing, posting anxiety, or the classic small creator disease of refreshing analytics every 12 seconds like it is going to heal your childhood? Either way, I am genuinely curious. And yes, comments also help the algorithm. So, thank you for listening. I see you on my channel.